और अब मैं अपने कलीग टेंजिन चौपल को Zscaler के बारे में थोड़ा और बात करने के लिए आमंत्रित करूंगा।
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tanzin. I'm a solution architect at Zscaler. So, agenda for next 10-15 minutes is just to discuss about the zero trust in cybersecurity. So, before I start my conversation, first thing I wanted to know is, ask from you is, have you heard about zero trust? What is the meaning of zero trust in cybersecurity? Anyone can answer? Please. Okay. Yes. So, yeah. So, absolutely. So, you are absolutely right. So, when we talk about the zero trust in cybersecurity, right, there are three elements. One is verify. Anyone trying to access any of your infrastructure, whether it's an application or infrastructure, first thing you need to verify. Second is limit. Don't provide access for each and everything. Based on the requirement, you need to limit the access of the resources. Last one is adapt. When I say adapt, so solution should be so much flexible. If there is any change, there should be adaptive. For example, there's some changes on a behavioral basis. Solution should be automatically understand that behavior, and based on that, it provide the access to the application. Now, before I go into the solutioning part, I just wanted to discuss about the existing infrastructure and landscape. If you see this diagram, look at the one thing. When we talk about the digitalization, what it means, there's a one thing which is common across all the vertical, which is application. Today, if you see application that is hosted in data center, cloud, private cloud, right? Now, those application which is hosted in data center, private cloud or public cloud, how are you going to give access to those users or citizens? So, if you see, for example, in power, mainly in power, ERP is one of the critical application, right? So now that is the hard core of your overall digital ecosystem. If you are building the application in your data center, how you are providing access to the users, employees, or a citizen of that ERP solution. Now, the traditional way of doing cybersecurity is how it looks like. If you have a remote office, remote location, district office, if you want to achieve the cybersecurity protection from a zero trust, earlier it used to be a VPN-based technology. What it does is the connectivity between the remote location and your data center or infrastructure is all through either MPLS or VPN, right? So now we used to trust based on the network. What it means is if user is coming from a trusted network, I will allow access to everything, right? How many of you heard about the Colonial Pipeline cyber attack? What happened in that, right? So within 2 hours, attackers has taken more than 200 GB of data. How it has happened? They have compromised the one VPN endpoint at a remote location. From there, they traverse up to the data center, and from data center, they have taken all the data, right? So VPN and MPLS, which we used to trust based on the IP address, that is not enough in today's environment. We need a very robust security solution which can provide a complete zero trust. So the challenges which I say, this complex architecture which we are running from last 30 years, I'm not saying it's bad. It was very good. It was working fine, and still today it's working fine. But problem is things are changing very, very fast. After AI and ML, right? If you want to attack something, you just go to the chat GPT and ask chat GPT how to exploit the vulnerability of VPN. You will get all the script over there. Now, attackers are moving very forward. We need to enhance our security solution as well. With this traditional infrastructure where the connectivity is either through MPLS or VPN, what are the challenges? Number one is everything is exposed to internet. What I mean is if you are using any of the VPN kind of solution, first requirement is you need to have a public IP address. If I have to do an attack on your organization, first thing is what is your attack surface? How your organization is looking from outside. When I say public IP, it means it is a discoverable. I can discover the IP address of your organization. And based on that, I can plan a cyber attack on those applications. Second thing is pass-through architecture. All the firewalls of the world, they were working very fine till last 2 years back, right? Today, if you see, most of the attacks which is happening is on a application layer. DDoS and all these things can be taken care as a perimeter layer. Even if you see today, when we talk about the cyber attack, that is more prone to the application. Now, today application is all HTTPS based application. What it means is the communication between the client or attackers up to the application is getting encrypted. First and foremost, to apply cybersecurity controls is I need to have a visibility. If there is encryption, I don't have a visibility. To enforce the 100% of the SSL security control, you need to have a SSL inspection. Firewalls of the world, VPN of the world, they can't do any kind of SSL inspection. So you need to have a complete visibility. Next challenge is, if you ask from an MPLS connectivity or VPN connectivity, what we are doing is we are providing access to entire network. If you have one VLAN, you are providing access to all the VLANs for that particular user. So we need not to expose entire network for a user. There should be a user to application segmentation. If user is authorized to access one application, he will be able to access that application only. Last one is implicit trust. As I said earlier, so the MPLS of the world, that is very complex to manage, right? So now this should be a transport. Transport should be just reaching destination from a one location. We cannot trust based on the transport. Last one is cost and complexity. So just a quick on a Zscaler. Our mission is to secure, simplify, and transform the business or organization. From an India perspective, we have deployed one of the largest bank, which is ICICI Bank. They are using our solution for all the cybersecurity controls. HDFC Bank is there and TCS is there. When we talk about the public sector side, so as mentioned by Anand, so we are working with many public sector, even in a PSU organization, to secure their critical infrastructure. From a Zscaler perspective, we are a US-based organization. We are listed in NASDAQ, and our ARR for annually is 2.5 billion. So in India, we have more than 400 customers. We are serving for them, and we are having a more than 3,200 employees based out in India. And we have a 7 data center across the India. Now let's talk about why Zscaler exists. Why Zscaler come into the cybersecurity? To address the challenges which I have mentioned in the past slide, right? So now we need not to trust on the network. We need to trust based on the identity. If you see, as I said, for a digitalization, for any organization, the application is the center of gravity, right? So when we talk about the application, who are going to access those applications? Citizen, employee, application can talk to application, right? So Zscaler come up with a zero trust architecture which sits in between user and application and give you a complete security controls. Just wanted to highlight how it works. When we talk about the Zscaler, for example, you have a data center. In data center, there are multiple applications like e-office, SAP, billing application. Now, any of the user wanted to access these application, if you implement zero trust solution from Zscaler, how traffic flow will happen. There is a small lightweight agent which will going to install on any of the machine, whether mobile, laptop, desktop, right? That agent will forward traffic to the Zscaler Zero Trust Exchange. Once traffic reach at our exchange, first thing what we will do is we will terminate the TCP connection. And we will ask, who are you? What means, what is your identity? It can be a username, password, two-factor authentication. We have our own inbuilt capability of having a two-factor authentication and username, password. But if customer is using any kind of identity solution, we can integrate with that. Next is, it's not about just username, password, right? What is the device from where user is trying to access? Whether this device is malicious or not. I can do a complete device posture check before granting access to any application. Next is, where are you going? This is the application-based policy. For example, group of the users or specific user, if he want to access any application, SAP application, whether this group of user or this user is allowed to access this application or not. This is the next layer. Once it is done, next layer is a cyber. When we talk about a cyber, as I said, SSL inspection, we do 100% SSL inspection. Once we do 100% SSL inspection, what I can do is I can enforce all the security controls like advanced threat protection, sandboxing, DLP, URL filtering, content filtering, and application security. That can be enforced at this layer. One more thing, we have a AI ML inbuilt into it. So what we can do is, as I said in first slide, the third pillar of zero trust is adapt. For example, there's a one user who is using our solution and accessing the SAP from last 1 year. And his consumption for downloading and uploading data on SAP is like 100 Mbps. Suddenly one day he tried to download GBps of data. I can detect it immediately based on my AI ML algorithm and isolate that user to access the application. So that kind of dynamic policy creation is capability is there. Once all these things has been checked, then I will establish a connection with the external world, whether it's an internet or a data center or any application. Here, if you see, I set full proxy. What it means is I terminate the connection from a client side, and I will reinitiate the new connection with the backend application. What it means is we are hiding the attack surface of your organization. The IP address which comes to me will not visible to the external world. I'm hiding IP address of your application. I'm hiding IP address of your user. That means your IP is not visible to the internet. Once you are not visible, nobody can reach out to you, right? So this is how zero trust solution works.
Mr. Chopal, that's 11 minutes for you.
Okay.
Please wrap.
So last 1 minute, sir. So from solution perspective, so this is a platform, right? So from platform, we can achieve two things. One is internet security. If your users are going to internet, I can secure all the traffic which is going to the internet. Second is private application security, like SAP kind of application. If you have those kind of application, what we can do is we can 100% give a guarantee that the traffic which is passing through the zero trust will give you a complete security from application perspective. On top of that, we will not expose your IP address to the external world. So I think it's a time crunch. What I request all of you is we have a booth outside, so we can have a more discussion one-on-one. Thank you so much.